Now is the historical moment, the time, not only to fight severe virus, but to shape the system.
A bioterrorist attack is kind of the nightmare scenario because they're a pathogen with a high death rate would be picked. Now, the good news is, I'm not trying to depress you, it's tough enough right now, most of the work we're going to do to be ready for pandemic 2, I call this pandemic 1.
It's at the end, what the fourth industrial revolution will lead to is a fusion of our physical, our digital, and our biological identities.
Madam Deputy Speaker, our freedoms are like the air we breathe. They're fundamental to us as a nation and to who we are as its people. Yet once again, we stand on the threshold of using the rule of law to undermine the rule of law.
Let's first look at the impact COVID-19 probably has. We don't know yet the final outcome of this pandemic. There's a lot of uncertainty, but we know already that it will have a changing effect, changing on economies, societies. It's not just to be compared with the economic crisis which we had to pass through 10 years ago. The effect will be much similar to World War.
When do you think life will fully return to what we thought of as normal back in January? No masks, no social distancing, no other protective measures necessary.
Certainly by the summer, we'll be way closer to normal than we are now. But even through early 2022, unless we help other countries get rid of this disease and we get high vaccination rates in our country, the risk of reintroduction will be there. And of course, the global economy will be slowed down, which hurts America economically in a pretty dramatic way. So we'll have, starting in the summer, about 9 months where a few things like big public gatherings will still be restricted. But we can see now that somewhere between 12 to 18 months, we have a chance, if we manage it well, to get back to normal.
And I want people to live long lives, full lives, happy lives, myself included. But my mortality, our mortality, is ultimately our contract with our Maker, whereas our fundamental rights are our contract with government.
But actually, what is the idea of the Great Reset?
Well, to cut to the chase, it is technocracy. And technocracy is a totalitarian political philosophy in the way that fascism is, and communism is, and Marxism is, and Nazism is. The USP of technocracy is that instead of evil dictators or central committees, the decisions over your life are made by experts, let's call them technocrats, a sort of unelected elite who will decide every aspect of your life in a way not unakin to the Chinese social credit system. You won't have any property. It will be allocated to you by this benign elite, depending on how well you behave yourself.
They are even running ads for the Great Reset.
this year the green issues have mutated into COVID-19, which of course is a completely engineered scare, which has got nothing to do with epidemiological reality. They've managed to turn a kind of routine into something so important that we should destroy our economy, shut down small businesses, enforce arguably compulsory vaccines. This all aligns with the Great Reset plan, and it's happening at an accelerated rate now, under cover of the oppressive measures that have been introduced by governments supposedly to deal with this terrible viral pandemic.
This virus was termed a new virus, and COVID-19 was termed a new disease. But in fact, neither the virus is really new, nor is the disease really new, because the coronaviruses have been with us, with man, since the beginning of mankind. You know, these are viruses that coexist with us. And so every year and every few months, a virus will change a little bit because they mutate all the time. Mm-hmm. They have to mutate, otherwise they can't keep on, going back and forth between you and me and animals or whatever you want. So it's a completely normal thing that these viruses, which are the most successful viruses in the world, together with the flu viruses, by the way, because they manage to keep the host alive. They don't kill the host. They don't want to kill us. They want to come and visit me, and then they want to go and visit the next guy, you know. And in order to be able to do this, they change very little all the time, so that when they come back next year, they can come and visit me again. Otherwise, my immune system, would not allow their entry at all. Now people are going around making our children suffer, and the elderly with their ailments. They suffer horribly. But you're allowed to do so. The government passes a rule, not a rule, but they're going to pass a law, and shorten your life,
But from the data we have, it still seems to be rare that an asymptomatic person actually transmits onward to a secondary individual.
My name is Andrew Kaufman. I'm a medical doctor and board-certified forensic psychiatrist. This pandemic is not a real medical pandemic. The COVID-19 vaccine is not proven safe or effective because there has not been enough time. In addition, there is not a clear definition of any new disease for which it can be tested against. There has not been a virus that has been purified or shown to be the cause of an illness. Thus, there is no target for a vaccine. However, the bottom line is that since no additional deaths have occurred in relation to a new disease, there is simply no need for a new vaccine.
When you look at the state of the world right now, what's the first word that springs to your mind?
The word reset, I think, is appropriate because we are now still fighting the virus, but we can be rather optimistic after what we have seen with the announcement of vaccines. Now we have to think how to structure, how to design the post-corona era. And here, of course, the word reset comes to my mind, because one thing is clear: we cannot come back to the old normal. We have to use this opportunity, as our parents and grandparents have done after the World War II, to really reflect on what went wrong and what could we do better. We definitively will have to face other surprises, black swans, as they are called, maybe different kinds of viruses. And finally, we have to make the world much greener. We finally have to put all our energy behind the decarbonization in order to avoid a major catastrophe in the future, of which we have, by the way, the first signs today. And I'm very hopeful that we can now create the necessary systems which we need for the 21st century.
I will have no part of criminalising parents for seeing their children and children for seeing their parents. No part. This legislation goes against my every instinct, perhaps an instinct even more fundamental than the love and touch of my family. And I am not living in fear of the virus. I will not live in fear of the virus, but I am living in fear of something much darker, hiding in the shadows. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, when the sunlight returns, and it will return, I hope it chases those shadows away. But I can't be sure that it will. I cannot be sure. And that is at the heart of my anxiety and the anxiety of so many of the people I represent in this place. Thank you.
So we, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time. So we, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time. That, I'd say is will get attention this time. That, I'd say is will get attention this time.